Wait. Stop for a moment, because what you're about to hear might be the wake-up call your life has been waiting for. Today, you know Kevin Hart as an icon, a global superstar, a name lit up on billboards, a man who fills entire stadiums with nothing but his voice and his energy. But you need to understand something. The world didn't hand him any of that. Nothing came easy. Nothing came fast. Nothing came guaranteed. People see the success, but they don't see the nights he walked home with empty pockets. They don't see the clubs that rejected him before he even got on stage. They don't see the disrespect, the mockery, the humiliations. There were comedy clubs that kicked him out mid-set. There were shows that cut his mic. There were people who laughed, not at his jokes but at him. You're too short. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Most people would have quit right there. Most people would have believed the criticism. Most people would have folded under that weight. But not Kevin Hart. Because Kevin had something more powerful than talent. Something stronger than applause. Something deeper than confidence. He had heart. He had grit. He had a refusal to quit, a refusal to back down, a refusal to let anybody else write his story. And that is what you need to hear today. Because maybe you're in that same place. Maybe you've been rejected. Maybe you've been overlooked. Maybe people don't take you seriously. Maybe life has made you feel small. But listen closely. When people doubt you, good. When they underestimate you, even better. Because every no, every insult, every closed door is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your strength. It is the pressure that creates the diamond. It is the fire that forges the champion. Kevin Hart didn't rise because the world believed in him. He rose because he believed in himself, even when no one else did. He kept showing up. He kept writing. He kept performing. He kept failing, but he failed forward. He failed with purpose. He failed with persistence. He failed until failure had nothing left to throw at him. And maybe right now, you feel like nobody believes in you. Maybe you feel unnoticed, unappreciated, uninspired. Maybe you feel like your dreams are too big, and you are too small. But hear this clearly. Success is not about size. Success is not about luck. Success is not about who starts biggest. It's about who refuses to stop. Kevin Hart didn't come from privilege. He didn't have the perfect start. He didn't have the perfect circumstances. He had obstacles more than most. He had critics louder than most. He had challenges harder than most. But he kept going. Every setback became a lesson. Every insult became fuel. Every rejection became redirection. Where others saw a dead end, Kevin saw a detour. Where others saw weakness, Kevin built strength. Where others gave up, Kevin geared up. He understood one truth. You don't lose when you fail. You lose when you quit. And that is the truth you need to adopt into your life today. Because right now, you have something inside you that you haven't discovered yet. A talent you haven't unlocked. A power you haven't tapped into. A story you haven't finished writing. You have a greatness planted inside you. But greatness grows under pressure. Greatness rises through resistance. Greatness emerges from the moments other people walk away from. You are not done. Your story is not finished. Your time is not over. This moment, right now, could be your turning point. This could be the day you decide you will not quit. You will not break. You will not let fear, doubt, or rejection decide your future. Because the truth is simple. Greatness doesn't belong to the chosen few. It belongs to the ones who fight for it. Consistently. Relentlessly. Fearlessly. Just like Kevin did. Just like you can. You don't need the world to believe in you. You don't need approval. You don't need permission. You need commitment. You need discipline. You need the courage to keep going when the world gives you every reason to stop. So get up, get focused, get hungry. When they doubt you, work harder. When they laugh at you, sharpen your skills. When they ignore you, build in silence. And when the world tells you, you can't, you look them right in the eyes and say, watch me, because your future self is counting on you. Your dreams are counting on you. Your purpose is counting on you. And if Kevin Hart taught us anything, it's this. You don't need to be the biggest in the room. You just need to have the biggest heart. So whatever you do, don't quit. Don't stop. Don't settle. Your greatness is waiting. Your story is still being written. And the world hasn't seen the best of you yet. Stop for a second and think about the last time life hit you hard. You know, the moment when everything seemed stacked against you, when you felt like giving up, when the weight of the world was pressing down on your shoulders and you didn't know if you could take another step. That moment, that exact feeling, is not a signal that you're weak. It's proof that you are alive, that you are growing, and that something greater is waiting for you just on the other side of your struggle. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has had that moment. Every single one. And if they can do it, so can you. But here's the thing: most people run from the pain. They try to numb it, ignore it, or pretend it doesn't exist, and that's why they never reach their full potential. Think about Kevin Hart for a second. A man who was laughed at, rejected, told he was too small, too loud, too different, too anything. And yet, he kept showing up. Every failed audition, every closed door, every harsh word fueled him instead of stopping him. He took that pain, the kind that would make most people quit, and turned it into fire. That's the key. That's the lesson. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your power. Every time life knocks you down, it's giving you an opportunity to rise stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the battles ahead. Now, I want you to picture yourself at your lowest point. Really picture it. Feel the weight. Feel the frustration. Feel the disappointment. Now, instead of letting it crush you, imagine using that exact energy as fuel. That's what separates the average from the extraordinary. That feeling you're trying to escape, the doubt, the fear, the anger, all of it can be converted into momentum. Every setback, every failure, every moment of pain carries within it a hidden lesson. Pain teaches you resilience. Pain teaches you patience. Pain teaches you strength you didn't even know you had. Let me ask you this: what if I told you that the obstacles you hate, the hardships you despise, the failures you cry over, are the very things that are creating your story of greatness? What if I told you that your struggle isn't random, it isn't meaningless, and it isn't punishment? Pain is shaping you. Pain is sculpting your character. Pain is preparing you for the stage of life that only you are capable of stepping onto. And when you finally walk onto that stage, stronger and unshakable, everyone else will marvel at your rise, never realizing the storms you endured to get there. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. Your pain, your struggle, your challenges, they are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that something precious is being formed inside you. Something rare, something resilient, something unstoppable. And just like diamonds, it's the pressure that makes you shine. But here's the truth most people ignore. Embracing your pain is hard. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. It's inconvenient. No one wants to sit in it, to stare at it, to learn from it. Most people take the easy route. They blame others. They give up. They convince themselves they're unlucky. And that's why pain is so powerful. It's a test, not of the world, but of you. How badly do you want it? How badly do you want to rise above? How badly do you want to turn every obstacle into an opportunity? That's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but my pain is too big. My challenges are too overwhelming. Let me tell you something, no pain is too big for the human spirit that refuses to quit. The pain you feel today is not permanent. It's temporary, and it's purposeful. Every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment is giving you a roadmap to your strength. If you pay attention, if you embrace it, if you refuse to hide from it, it will teach you lessons that no classroom, no book, no mentor could ever teach. Picture your life as a battlefield. Every struggle, every tear, every lonely night is like weight being placed on your shoulders in preparation for the climb. The higher you climb, the heavier the weight feels, and the stronger you become. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. And the moment you understand that, you will start to see your life differently. Every obstacle will become an opportunity. Every failure will become a lesson. Every challenge will become fuel. So, I want you to ask yourself right now, are you going to let your pain defeat you, or are you going to let it define you? Are you going to let it break you, or are you going to let it make you unstoppable? Kevin Hart didn't become a superstar by avoiding pain. He became one by leaning into it, by refusing to quit, by laughing at the doubt, by absolutely. Here's an expanded, professional, audiobook-style version of Chapter 1, Your Pain is Your Power, in around 800 words, with engaging hooks, high energy, and motivational storytelling. I've written it so it flows naturally for narration. Stop for a second and think about the last time life hit you hard. You know, the moment when everything seemed stacked against you, when you felt like giving up, when the weight of the world was pressing down on your shoulders and you didn't know if you could take another step. That moment, that exact feeling, is not a signal that you're weak. It's proof that you are alive, that you are growing, and that something greater is waiting for you just on the other side of your struggle. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has had that moment. Every single one. And if they can do it, so can you. But here's the thing, most people run from the pain. They try to numb it, ignore it, or pretend it doesn't exist. And that's why they never reach their full potential. Think about Kevin Hart for a second. A man who was laughed at, rejected, told he was too small, too loud, too different, too anything. And yet, he kept showing up. Every failed audition, every closed door, every harsh word fueled him instead of stopping him. He took that pain, the kind that would make most people quit, and turned it into fire. That's the key. That's the lesson. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your power. Every time life knocks you down, it's giving you an opportunity to rise stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the battles ahead. Now, I want you to picture yourself at your lowest point. Really picture it. Feel the weight. Feel the frustration. Feel the disappointment. Now, instead of letting it crush you, imagine using that exact energy as fuel. That's what separates the average from the extraordinary. That feeling you're trying to escape, the doubt, the fear, the anger, all of it can be converted into momentum. Every setback, every failure, every moment of pain carries within it a hidden lesson. Pain teaches you resilience. Pain teaches you patience. Pain teaches you strength you didn't even know you had. Let me ask you this. What if I told you that the obstacles you hate, the hardships you despise, the failures you cry over, are the very things that are creating your story of greatness? What if I told you that your struggle isn't random, it isn't meaningless, and it isn't punishment? Pain is shaping you. Pain is sculpting your character. Pain is preparing you for the stage of life that only you are capable of stepping onto. And when you finally walk onto that stage, stronger and unshakable, everyone else will marvel at your rise, never realizing the storms you endured to get there. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. Your pain, your struggle, your challenges, they are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that something precious is being formed inside you. Something rare, something resilient, something unstoppable. And just like diamonds, it's the pressure that makes you shine. But here's the truth most people ignore. Embracing your pain is hard. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. It's inconvenient. No one wants to sit in it, to stare at it, to learn from it. Most people take the easy route. They blame others. They give up. They convince themselves they're unlucky. And that's why pain is so powerful. It's a test. Not of the world, but of you. How badly do you want it? How badly do you want to rise above? How badly do you want to turn every obstacle into an opportunity? That's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the achievers. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but my pain is too big, my challenges are too overwhelming. Let me tell you something. No pain is too big for the human spirit that refuses to quit. The pain you feel today is not permanent. It's temporary, and it's purposeful. Every failure, every heartbreak, every disappointment is giving you a roadmap to your strength. If you pay attention, if you embrace it, if you refuse to hide from it, it will teach you lessons that no classroom, no book, no mentor could ever teach. Picture your life as a battlefield. Every struggle, every tear, every lonely night is like weight being placed on your shoulders in preparation for the climb. The higher you climb, the heavier the weight feels, and the stronger you become. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation, and the moment you understand that, you will start to see your life differently. Every obstacle will become an opportunity. Every failure will become a lesson. Every challenge will become fuel. So, I want you to ask yourself right now, are you going to let your pain defeat you, or are you going to let it define you? Are you going to let it break you, or are you going to let it make you unstoppable? Kevin Hart didn't become a superstar by avoiding pain. He became one by leaning into it, by refusing to quit, by laughing at the doubt, by transforming every no into a reason to work harder. And the same is possible for you. Every struggle you've faced has a purpose. Every challenge you've endured has prepared you. And now, it's time to take that power, that fire, that pain, and turn it into your greatness. Remember, pain is not your enemy. Pain is your power. It is the forge that will shape you, the fire that will burn away weakness, and the push that will launch you toward everything you've ever wanted. The moment you embrace your struggles, the moment you see them as allies instead of enemies, the moment you stop running from discomfort, is the moment your life changes forever. And the best part, the world is waiting to see what you do next. Do you want me to do that next? Transforming every no into a reason to work harder. And the same is possible for you. Every struggle you've faced has a purpose. Every challenge you've endured has prepared you. And now, it's time to take that power, that fire, that pain, and turn it into your greatness. Remember, pain is not your enemy. Pain is your power. It is the forge that will shape you, the fire that will burn away weakness, and the push that will launch you toward everything you've ever wanted. The moment you embrace your struggles, the moment you see them as allies instead of enemies, the moment you stop running from discomfort, is the moment your life changes forever. And the best part? The world is waiting to see what you do next. Stop for a moment and think about all the times you doubted yourself. Think about all the moments when the world seemed against you, when everyone around you seemed to be moving forward while you felt stuck. Maybe people laughed at your ideas. Maybe they dismissed your dreams. Maybe they told you you weren't good enough. And maybe, just maybe, you started believing them. That's exactly the moment where everything can change if you make the choice to believe in yourself when no one else does. This is where greatness begins, in the quiet rebellion of refusing to let the world define your limits. Kevin Hart knows this better than most. Imagine being a young comedian, standing on a stage, hearing your voice shake with nerves, knowing people are watching and judging, and still stepping up night after night. Rejected from auditions, ignored by producers, underestimated by peers. He faced all of that and more. And what carried him forward wasn't luck. It wasn't talent alone. It wasn't the audience's applause. It was belief, unshakable, unwavering belief in his own abilities, even when the world seemed to be shouting, no. Now, I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you truly believed in yourself? Not just said it in a motivational quote, not just repeated it to feel better, but really, deep down, believed that you could do something extraordinary? Because let me tell you, the moment you cultivate that belief is the moment your reality starts to shift. When the world doubts you, when doors close, when people roll their eyes at your dreams, that is exactly the moment to lock eyes with yourself in the mirror and say, I got this. I will figure this out. I will rise. That single act, choosing to believe when no one else does, is a declaration that you are no longer bound by external opinions. Imagine a world where you only acted when everyone believed in you. How many dreams would remain unfinished? How many opportunities would vanish before they even arrived? Belief in yourself is not optional. It's a necessity. It's the engine that turns possibility into reality. When Kevin Hart stood in front of the camera, the lights, and the laughter of a crowd, he didn't just show up with a joke, he showed up with confidence. Every rejection, every harsh comment, every "you can't" became fuel for that confidence. And the world responded, not because he asked it to, but because he dared to believe in himself first. Let's take this a step further. Think about all the people who doubted you. Think about all the voices, sometimes louder, sometimes quieter, that told you that your dream was too big, too unrealistic, too impossible. Now, imagine taking all that doubt and stacking it behind your back like a pile of weights. At first, it may feel heavy. At first, it may feel impossible to move. But the moment you start walking forward, the moment you start taking action fueled by your belief, every ounce of doubt becomes momentum. Every skeptical voice becomes a reminder that you're doing something worth noticing. Every "no" and "you can't" becomes a step closer to your breakthrough. Believing in yourself doesn't mean you won't face fear. It doesn't mean you won't feel doubt. It doesn't mean the path will suddenly be smooth. What it does mean is that you have a foundation stronger than external approval. Your belief becomes armor. Your confidence becomes a shield. Your persistence becomes a weapon. The world might not cheer for you at first. It might not even notice your effort. But your belief is your light, and it will guide you through the darkest hours, the toughest challenges, and the loneliest nights. Here's the truth most people don't understand. Your belief in yourself is more contagious than any criticism. When you stand firm, when you show courage, when you act with conviction, others start to see it too. Doors that seemed permanently closed start to creak open. Opportunities that felt unreachable start to appear. And more importantly, you start to see possibilities that were invisible before because you had the courage to trust yourself when no one else would. Ask yourself, what would you do differently if you truly believed in yourself? What risks would you take? What dreams would you chase? What conversations would you start? What doors would you walk through? Kevin Hart didn't wait for the world to give him permission to succeed. He created it. He designed his own path. And that same power exists inside you. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is not always talent, timing, or luck. Most often, it's the courage to trust yourself when the odds are stacked against you, the strength to keep moving when others quit, and the refusal to let doubt dictate your story. So every time you face rejection, every time you hear no, every time someone says you can't, remember that belief is not a luxury. Belief is survival. Belief is strategy. Belief is what turns dreams into achievements. You don't have to wait for the world to acknowledge you. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't even have to wait for proof that it's possible. The moment you decide, truly decide to believe in yourself when no one else does, you start to shift reality in your favor. And here's the hook that changes everything. What if I told you that every great success story, every iconic moment, every achievement you admire began the same way, with one person believing in themselves when no one else would? That one decision, that one act of self-trust, is the secret that separates the winners from the rest. It's not the resources, it's not the luck. It's the belief that your dreams are valid, that your effort matters, and that your story is worth telling, even if no one else is clapping for you yet. Stop for a moment and think about how many times you've looked at your goals and felt overwhelmed. How many times have you wanted to achieve something big, something life-changing, but then froze because it felt too massive, too impossible, too far away? That's exactly the trap most people fall into. They want the result, they want the end, but they forget that every mountain is climbed one step at a time. Small steps, repeated consistently, create transformations so profound that people around you often mistake them for overnight success. But the truth is, the magic happens in the small, unseen efforts, the moments where nobody is watching, the moments that feel meaningless at the time, the tiny victories you accumulate every single day. Let me tell you something. Kevin Hart didn't become a superstar in a single leap. He didn't wake up one morning and find himself selling out arenas. No, it happened slowly, step by step, performance by performance, joke by joke, rejection by rejection. Every failed audition, every closed door, every night where he felt invisible was a step forward. Every single small effort added to his experience, built his craft, and strengthened his resolve. That's the reality most people miss. The steps don't have to be huge, they just have to be consistent. Now, I want you to think about your own life. Think about the big dream you've been hesitating to chase. Maybe it's starting a business, creating art, learning a new skill, or transforming your health. It feels enormous, doesn't it? That's because your mind focuses on the finish line, not the first step. But here's the truth. The first step is all you need. The first step sets the momentum in motion. One step leads to another, and before you know it, you're moving faster, stronger, and farther than you ever imagined. Here's a hook to remember. Most people quit not because the goal is too big, but because they underestimate the power of small progress. They look for instant results, instant recognition, instant success. Life doesn't work that way. Life rewards patience, discipline, and persistence. Every tiny effort, no matter how small, compounds over time. Every moment you push forward, every task you complete, every decision to show up, builds into something far greater than the sum of its parts. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, one step at a time, consistently, relentlessly. Let's put it into perspective. Imagine if Kevin Hart had waited until he was perfect to perform, until he had the perfect joke, the perfect timing, the perfect opportunity. He would still be waiting today. Instead, he chose to start where he was, with what he had, and to improve every single day. That choice, the choice to start small and stay consistent, is what eventually led him to global success. It's a reminder that you don't need everything figured out before you begin. You just need the courage to start and the commitment to continue. Think about this for a second. Every small action you take today is an investment in your future self. The emails you send, the practice sessions you complete, the extra mile you run, the small decisions to stay disciplined, they all add up. And while it may feel insignificant now, the compounding effect is unstoppable. That's how transformation happens. That's how dreams become reality. That's how ordinary people turn into legends. Here's the hook that will change how you see progress. If you look at the journey as one giant leap, it will paralyze you. But if you look at it as one small, deliberate step, you will empower yourself. Momentum is built not by speed, but by repetition. Momentum is built not by perfection, but by persistence. Momentum is built not by waiting for opportunity, but by creating it, one step at a time. Let me be real with you. It's not glamorous. The small steps are quiet. They are tedious. They are repetitive. Most people ignore them. But it's in that repetition, in that consistency, that transformation happens. The world notices results, but rarely sees the effort behind them. And that's exactly why so many people fail. They see the result and want to skip the process. They want the applause without the work. They want the victory without the grind. And that's impossible. You can't cheat the process. You can't fake the small steps. You can only embrace them, day after day, step after step. Here's another hook for you. Every expert you admire, every successful person you look up to, started exactly where you are right now. They didn't leap to the top. They climbed, slowly, carefully, deliberately, one step at a time. And what separated them from the rest wasn't just talent, it was commitment. Commitment to taking the next step, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was tiring, even when it seemed pointless. That's what builds momentum. That's what creates breakthroughs. That's what turns dreams into realities. So now, imagine your life 6 months from now if you started taking small, intentional steps today. Just imagine. Not the giant leaps you've been waiting for. Not the perfect opportunities you've been hoping for. Just the small, deliberate actions you can take every day. That's where the transformation begins. That's where consistency becomes unstoppable. That's where ordinary people become extraordinary. And here's the final hook to lock this into your mind. The path to greatness is not a sprint. It's a series of small, persistent steps. The ones who succeed are not the ones who wait for inspiration. They are the ones who act consistently, even when the world doesn't notice, even when it feels slow, even when it seems insignificant. Those steps, repeated without fail, compound into results so massive that people will assume you were lucky. They will assume it happened overnight. But you and I both know the truth. You built it, step by step, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. Have you ever been told no? I mean really told no. Not just a polite rejection, not just a minor setback, but the kind of no that hits you in the chest, the kind that makes you question everything you're doing, everything you're worth, everything you've ever believed about yourself. If you've felt that, you already know how crushing it can feel. And yet, the people who achieve greatness know a secret that most of the world never learns. Rejection is not the end of the road. It is the fuel that powers the road ahead. It is the spark that lights the fire of determination that will carry you further than comfort ever could. The difference between giving up and rising higher is simple: what you do with rejection. Kevin Hart faced it over and over again. Auditions that went nowhere, clubs that laughed at him instead of with him, doors that closed in his face before he even had the chance to show what he could do. Most people would have stopped. Most people would have walked away quietly, resigned to believe that perhaps they weren't meant to succeed. But Kevin did something different. He looked at every no, every closed door, every doubt thrown at him and said, "Good, I'll show you anyway." That's the mindset that transforms rejection into fuel. That's the mindset that converts obstacles into stepping stones and doubts into motivation. Now, let me challenge you. Think about the last time someone said you couldn't. Maybe it was a teacher, a boss, a peer, or even a friend. Maybe it was a stranger. Whatever the source, think about how it made you feel. Frustrated, angry, disappointed. Those emotions, if channeled correctly, are not weaknesses. They are energy waiting to be harnessed. Rejection is not a judgment on your worth. It's a signpost telling you that the path you're on is the one worth fighting for. Every no is a clue. Every closed door is a direction. Every doubter is proof that you are attempting something significant enough to matter. Here's the hook most people miss. Rejection only has power if you give it power. If you let it define you, it will crush you. If you let it discourage you, it will stop you. But if you take it as a challenge, as a test, as fuel, it becomes unstoppable momentum. The moment you realize that every setback, every refusal, every judgment is simply a signal to push harder, that's the moment you step into a league most people never enter. You see, the world doesn't hand out success to the easiest, the most comfortable, or the least challenged. The world rewards those who rise despite rejection, who persist despite doubt, who refuse to quit when every signal says they should. Think about your own life. How many doors have closed for you? How many people have told you it's impossible, that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes? Now imagine if instead of letting those words weigh you down, you used them as fuel. Every harsh word, every dismissive glance, every skeptical opinion becomes energy that propels you forward. That's how champions are made. That's how legends rise. That's how Kevin Hart went from being the kid laughed at in comedy clubs to a superstar in stadiums around the world. Rejection also teaches clarity. It forces you to confront what you want and what you're willing to fight for. It strips away the distractions, the doubts, the unnecessary noise, and shows you the path that is truly yours. And here's a hook you need to remember. Every time someone says you can't, every time someone doubts you, they are unknowingly giving you an advantage. They are giving you an opportunity to rise higher than they ever imagined. Your response to rejection can either break you or build you. Choose wisely. And let me remind you of this, fuel alone isn't enough. You have to act. You have to channel that fire into relentless, disciplined action. Rejection without action is wasted energy. Rejection without persistence is regret waiting to happen. You need to take every no and convert it into effort, strategy, and focus. You need to double down, push forward, and show the world and, more importantly, yourself that nothing can stop you when you refuse to quit. Here's the hook that changes everything. The people who inspire you, the ones whose stories make you believe that anything is possible, they all share the same trait. They didn't just experience rejection. They thrived because of it. They used every insult, every closed door, every failure as fuel. That energy became the foundation of their success, and it can become yours too. Rejection is not punishment. It is preparation. Every no is a rehearsal for your yes, every failure a prelude to your victory. So, the next time life tells you no, I want you to remember this. It's not a stop sign. It's a green light disguised as a challenge. It's an invitation to push harder, climb higher, and prove to yourself that you are capable of more than anyone, including yourself, ever imagined. When used correctly, rejection is not the enemy. It is the power source for your growth, the catalyst for your transformation, and the spark that lights the fire of your unstoppable journey. Stop for a moment and consider this. The battles you face in life aren't just outside of you. Most of the fights, the victories, and the defeats begin in your mind. Your mindset determines everything: how you respond to challenges, how you perceive opportunities, and ultimately, how far you go. Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same circumstances, the same obstacles, the same opportunities, and yet one thrives while the other struggles. Why? Because one has trained their mind to see possibility, while the other allows fear, doubt, and excuses to control the narrative. That is the power of mindset. That is the difference between mediocrity and excellence. Here's the hook that most people overlook. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. Plant seeds of fear, negativity, and self-doubt, and those will flourish. Plant seeds of belief, resilience, and courage, and those will flourish instead. Kevin Hart knew this instinctively. Every rejection, every failure, every insult could have broken him, but he cultivated a mindset that refused to let circumstances define him. He trained his thoughts to see opportunity where others saw obstacles, to see lessons where others saw failure, to see potential where others saw limitations. And that mindset became the engine of his success. Now, think about your own thoughts. How often do you let fear dictate your decisions? How often do you let doubt prevent you from taking action? How often do you replay every past failure in your head instead of focusing on the next step forward? Every second you spend feeding negativity gives power to what you don't want and weakens your ability to achieve what you do want. But here's the truth. Your mind is yours to command. You can decide what to focus on, what to believe, and how to act. Your mindset is a choice, and the choices you make consistently shape your future. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a remote control for your thoughts. Every time negativity creeps in, you have the power to switch the channel. Every time doubt whispers in your ear, you have the power to change the station. Every time fear tells you to quit, you have the power to hit play on courage. That is not wishful thinking. That is real, actionable power. And yet, most people give that power away. They let their minds be hijacked by other people's opinions, by circumstances, by fear. And that is why so many people never reach their potential. Here's a hook you need to hear. The most successful people in the world don't just think positively, they think strategically. They focus on growth. They see every setback as a setup. They see every challenge as a teacher. They see every failure as data, not destiny. Kevin Hart didn't just hope he would succeed. He trained his mind, day after day, to see the next opportunity, to improve, to push past obstacles, and to act despite fear. That is the mindset that builds empires. That is the mindset that creates legacies. That is the mindset that can change your life. Now, I want you to picture your own life 6 months from now if you were to harness this principle. If every day you chose thoughts that empowered you, if every day you refused to let fear and doubt dictate your decisions, if every day you acted with clarity and confidence, how different would your life be? You would be unstoppable. You would start to notice doors opening that once seemed locked. You would see opportunities that once seemed invisible. You would feel the energy and drive that comes from a mind trained to focus on solutions instead of problems, on possibilities instead of limitations. That is the power of mindset. Here's another hook for you. Obstacles will never go away. Fear will never disappear. Failure will never fully leave your path. The difference is how your mind reacts. One person sees obstacles and stops. Another sees the same obstacles and plots a way around them. One person sees fear and hides. Another sees fear and steps forward anyway. One person sees failure and quits. Another sees failure and studies it, learns from it, and uses it as fuel. That is the mental discipline that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Your mind also controls the story you tell yourself. Are you the hero or the victim? Are you the author or the audience? Are you the player or the observer? Every decision you make is influenced by the narrative running in your head. Kevin Hart didn't wait for someone else to write his story. He refused to let rejection, doubt, or fear dictate his narrative. He chose to be the hero of his story, the author of his destiny. And that same choice is available to you right now. Here's a hook that changes everything. What you think you can achieve today is far more important than what others think you can achieve. The world will never give you the validation you need. The world will never hand you certainty, permission, or approval. Your thoughts, your mindset, and your daily mental discipline are the tools that create the life you want. Every belief, every attitude, every focus shapes the trajectory of your future. Every "I can" is a building block. Every "I won't" is a brick in a wall that holds you back. Choose wisely. And remember, mindset is not passive, it's active. It requires constant attention, deliberate practice, and unwavering commitment. The small moments, the choices you make when no one is watching, the way you respond to stress, disappointment, and fear, those are the moments that define your mental strength. When you cultivate the right mindset, no setback is permanent, no obstacle insurmountable, and no dream too far. You take control of your life, and the future bends to the power of your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. Stop for a moment and picture your life as a book. Every day is a page, every decision a sentence, and every experience a chapter. Now, ask yourself, are you living like your story is already finished, or are you treating each moment as the beginning of something extraordinary? Too many people walk through life as if their past defines them, as if the failures, mistakes, or heartbreaks they've experienced are permanent stamps of limitation. But here's the hook most people never hear. Your story is never over. No setback, no loss, no obstacle has the power to end it. The only thing that can stop your story is you deciding to stop writing it. Think about Kevin Hart for a second. Every person he encountered, every door that closed in his face, every rejection he faced could have been the end. Most people would have quit, accepted defeat, and moved on. But Kevin understood that his story was just beginning, that every challenge was a setup, every no was a plot twist, and every failure was a scene building him toward greatness. That mindset, that refusal to let the past dictate the ending, is exactly what separates ordinary people from extraordinary ones. Now, imagine your own story. Think about the chapters that have already been written, the struggles, the losses, the mistakes. What if I told you that all of that is not baggage but preparation? What if I told you that every tear, every rejection, every difficult moment is setting the stage for the most incredible chapters yet to come? That's the truth. Your story isn't finished. It's only getting started. Every setback is a setup for your next success. Every detour is a lesson in disguise, and every obstacle is a chance to show how resilient, courageous, and unstoppable you truly are. Here's a hook to grab your attention. The story you've told yourself about who you are and what you can do is just one version of the truth. The past doesn't own you. Society doesn't own you. Circumstances don't own you. You are the author, the director, and the lead character of your story. And the most powerful chapters are still unwritten. Every morning you wake up is another page, every choice another sentence, and every action another paragraph. You get to decide what happens next. Think about this. If Kevin Hart had allowed his past to define him, he would never have reached the stages he stands on today. If he had let the rejections, the criticism, the doubts consume him, the world would have never seen his rise. But he knew something that most people forget. The ending is not determined by the first chapters. Your story is a collection of moments, not a single event. It's a tapestry woven over time, built by persistence, courage, and belief in what's possible. That same truth exists in your life. Ask yourself this question right now. What would happen if you decided today that your story isn't over, that your struggles are not the final chapter, that your failures are not the conclusion? What doors would you open? What risks would you take? What dreams would you finally chase? The power lies not in rewriting the past, but in writing the future. Every new effort, every bold step, every decision to rise instead of retreat is another paragraph, another scene, another chapter that adds depth, power, and meaning to your story. Here's the hook most people ignore. Your story has power because it's yours. No one else has walked in your shoes. No one else has endured what you have endured. No one else has seen the world through your eyes. That uniqueness is strength. That perspective is influence. That experience is preparation for the chapters yet to come. And the best part is, you don't need permission to continue. You don't need validation from anyone. You don't need approval to write the next part of your life. It's yours, and you have the pen in your hand. Now, I want you to picture the future version of yourself, the one who refused to quit, the one who learned from every struggle, who transformed every setback into a step forward, who embraced the uncertainty of life with courage and determination. That version of you is waiting, not as a fantasy, but as a reality that can be created by the choices you make today. Every effort, every moment of perseverance, every decision to move forward is an act of authorship. You are writing the story that your future self will look back on and be proud of. Here's a hook that will stay with you. Greatness does not come from a single chapter or a single moment. It comes from the accumulation of bold choices, relentless effort, and unwavering belief that your story is worth telling. The people you admire, the legends, the icons, the world changers, they all had moments when their story could have ended. But they refused to let it. They continued. They persisted. They rose. And so can you. Every setback is temporary. Every obstacle is a plot twist. Every doubt is a chance to rewrite the narrative. So as you move forward, remember this. The story you're living today is just the beginning. The struggles you faced are only the prologue. The obstacles you encounter are part of the plot. And the victories, the triumphs, and the greatness that lie ahead are waiting for you to claim them. Your story is powerful, it's unique, and it's far from over. Every page, every sentence, every chapter is in your hands. The next chapter begins now.